A press conference to get underway over in Los Angeles. This is in regards to the case against the Menendez brothers and whether or not they will be resentenced. I do want to put up a tweet though here from the Associated Press as they are reporting, take a look at this, that LA prosecutors want Eric and Lyle Menendez resentenced in the 1989 killings of their parents. That's according to officials and what the Associated Press is reporting at this moment. Back out to this live feed, and I do want to kind of box it up here with some footage from the brothers way back when in the 90s, when this case first garnered so much attention, and still decades in the making, we are waiting to see what their fate is. Now, when they were convicted for killing their parents back in 1989, they were sentenced to life without parole. The district attorney's office in Los Angeles had announced that they were going to review some new evidence brought forward. A lot of that evidence centered around some testimony that we heard back in the trial during the 90s, but the fact that the brothers were abused by their father, Jose Menendez. It looks like they might get started any moment now. It is about 1:30 p.m. here on the West Coast and 4:30 over on the East Coast, and that was the set time as to when this press conference was going to officially get underway. Prosecutors set to announce whether or not they will recommend resentencing Eric and Lyle Menendez for the 1989 killings of their parents in Beverly Hills. The brothers were sentenced in 1996 to life in prison without the possibility of parole. And today, the Los Angeles County District Attorney, George Gascon, he will be hosting this conference to announce his office's decision as to whether the brothers will be resentenced. I'm going to pump up the audio and see. They could just be doing a mic check, but let's take a listen.
One, two, test, 1, 2.
All right, as expected, it was just mic check, kind of getting all of their ducks in a row before this. It's a highly viewed event at the moment regarding the case against the Menendez brothers. So Lyle Menendez was 21 years old and Eric Menendez was just 18 when they had admitted to fatally shooting their entertainment executive father, Jose Menendez, and their mother, Kitty Menendez. The brothers said they feared their parents were about to kill them to stop people from finding out that their father, Jose, had sexually abused Eric Menendez for years. The brothers' extended family members have pleaded for their release, saying they deserve to be free after decades behind bars. Several family members have said that in today's world, the brothers would not have been convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life based on those sexual abuse accusations against their father, who they killed. The Menendez brothers were tried twice for the murder of their parents, with the first trial ending in a hung jury. Prosecutors at the time contended that there was no evidence of molestation, and many details in their story of sexual abuse were not permitted in the second trial. The district attorney's office also said that back then, the brothers were after their parents' multi-million-dollar estate. So we're waiting here, a packed house, as you can see, so many people, including the press, and what I would think is several family members of the Menendez brothers have packed this area here as we are waiting for what the district attorney will announce in regards to the case and a possible resentencing of the brothers. I want to go back to this tweet that I showcased moments ago here, because the Associated Press in LA is reporting that LA prosecutors want Eric and Lyle Menendez resentenced in the 1989 killings of their parents. That's according to officials. So we had a mic check just moments ago. You can see there on the screen the attorney for the brothers chatting about as we wait for the district attorney's office to step up to the podium and reveal what really we have been waiting on for decades now. This has been decades in the making. And we have heard a testimony from family members who do believe that the brothers should be resentenced, even going as far as saying they should be let out of prison because they have served enough time.
Yeah, they should.
This entire case kind of circling about this fact that the brothers were abused by their father. We have another vantage point here. I want to bring it, a couple of them. We can see the attorney for the brothers greeting what could be some of the family members that are in attendance for this decision. We have showcased a few of these press conferences over the last several weeks featuring the attorney for the brothers and also their family members who have called on them to be released. It's really a monumental moment with this case, spanning all the way back to 1989. Seeing here that they're setting up some papers to the podium any moment now. We're about 5 minutes behind from this was scheduled to start, so really momentarily we should be seeing the LADA step up to this podium and finally announce what we have been waiting for, which is if those brothers will be resentenced, if they may get a new trial, or if they will be sent home. The family members and the attorneys, we have heard them saying that they would like the brothers to be home in time for Thanksgiving, and that could very well be a possibility. However, we have to wait and see what the district attorney finally has to say about this. The decision expected today, again, on whether Eric and Lyle Menendez will be resentenced or get a new trial. So just going to linger on this Shaja for a moment here. We do have this other one that we can see kind of closer to the door, the entrance from where we expect the district attorney to be walking through any moment now. And there on the right side of your screen, just some footage that we have from back in the day, the brothers and their first trial in the 1990s. We also had some footage of the parents, Jose and Kitty Menendez, who were killed. Now, both of these brothers admitting to that, but really the question now is, was the time served sufficient for the crime? And this is in light of the new evidence that is being looked at really with a different lens. When we discuss sexual abuse against boys, there was something that wasn't paid too much attention to back when the brothers first went onto trial, but now there has been a renewed call for that. Kind of focusing here, I'm not sure exactly which family members these are, but you can see people being consoled there. Everyone is very much anxious about this decision, but the Associated Press is reporting that the prosecutors in Los Angeles, they do want the Menendez brothers resentenced for those killings. Now, we'll have to see what that resentencing entails, and if they are resentenced, if we're going to see them being let go from prison because of the time that has already been served. They have been in prison since the mid-90s. 1996 is when they were first convicted, so we're talking about decades and decades.
I've been there since 91.
Let's go back to this other vantage point that we have here, kind of seeing the podium at the moment, still waiting for this to get underway, but we don't want to pull away from this because it's set to start really any moment now. So let's linger on this for a bit while we wait and see if the DA will be stepping up.
What's the hold up? You guys knew this was going to happen. But you didn't have 30 years to figure this out? Flip and show up on time. What the hell?
All right, if you're just joining us here at Live Now from Fox, we are taking a look at a podium that has been set up. We are awaiting a press conference to happen really any moment now, featuring the district attorney in Los Angeles. And this has to do with the case against the Menendez brothers, who were convicted back in 1996 of killing their parents inside of their Beverly Hills home. I just want to go ahead and reset and recap for any of the viewers that maybe have not been following this case too closely. Even though here at Live Now from Fox, we have been bringing you many of these updates as they have been happening periodically, including a press conference featuring several of the family members of the Menendez brothers just a couple of weeks ago, actually, calling for their release. The Associated Press is reporting that prosecutors there in LA, they do want the Menendez brothers to be resentenced, but we are waiting for that official announcement at this moment. A lot of eyes are on this case as we continue to follow it here. Just a recap of this entire story and decades in the making there. And on the right side of your screen, again, we do have some footage from the brothers in their first trial appearance. We have this, another vantage point inside of that room. This is one of the attorneys for the brothers who we have seen front and center at many of these press conferences, as he has also pushed for the brothers' release and advocated for the families and gathered them together just to kind of continue to accentuate the fact that many of these family members do believe that there was a reason as to why these brothers killed their parents back in 1989.
Chat disabled.
So let's go back to this, another 2-box picture that we have.
How is there a chat?
For this to get underway. So the brothers, Eric and Lyle Menendez, they have been serving life sentences without parole for the killings of their parents, Jose and Kitty Menendez, back in 1989 in Beverly Hills. George Gascon, which is the Los Angeles district attorney, told his media office that it was a split decision. That was earlier today, however. He had said earlier that one group had wanted the original trial set on keeping the brothers in prison, while the other group believes the brothers deserve to be released. Let's pump up the audio and see what's going on at this moment.
Also Spanish?
Yes.
Okay.
No, somebody in the lake.
All right, while we wait for this to still get underway here, any moment now, people, we're about 10 minutes behind from when this was supposed to start at 1:30 West Coast time, 4:30 East Coast time. I want to bring up a tweet here from a legal analyst at Nima Rahmani, who we have had on live now from Fox to kind of break down this entire case against the Menendez brothers. So here are his takes while we wait for the LA district attorney to make their announcement and announce their decision in this case. He says this: 1, at his press conference today, Gascon will recommend resentencing to time served in the interest of justice. 2, that's an easier legal path than confessing error in the habeas petition, because the parties may be. And then he also has some not so bold predictions for the Menendez brothers, because right now it really is kind of a guessing game at this moment. Now, the AP is reporting that they will be resentenced, but we won't know for sure until we actually hear it from the district attorney himself. But Nima also, kind of as he continues to analyze this and where this may go going forward, says that at his press conference, Gascon will recommend resentencing to time served in the interest of justice. And it's also an easier legal path to confessing error, again, in the habeas petition, because the parties may be unable to show that the result of the second trial would have been different. Still monitoring this feed for everyone here. I'm going to bring it up so you can all watch with us in real time. We are seeing that through this other vantage point, some more people have walked into this room as we're waiting for this decision to finally be announced in a case that has really garnered national attention and has kept the public's interest for quite a few decades. Most recently, we have seen that Netflix did release a new series based on this entire case, and it's really kind of renewed the interest for people who maybe don't remember it from back in the 90s. It was a big story back then. So many countless documentaries have also been based on this entire case as well.
You know what, man? You guys had 30-some years to get this shit on time. Are you serious right now? Like, you're really breaking it down in the back right now? Is that what's happening? Everybody just standing around. The entire world just standing around.
try to turn up the audio to see if we can hear, maybe if we're going to get more of a set time. Going back to this other vantage point of inside the room, you can see really how packed this house is, with so many media outlets there ready to report this decision that so many people have been expecting for the last several weeks, as
In
this
years.
case has worked its way back
In
into
decades.
the headlines with so much attention called to it. Eric and Lyle Menendez here.
It's
and
a Diddy
the
party
evidence that
in
is being
there.
reviewed by the
Read
Los
these,
Angeles
Alcatraz,
District
guilty,
Attorney's
free the
office.
boys.
That evidence does circle around the fact that
Keep
both
the
of those
murderers
brothers
in
have
prison.
testified
Keep
that
them in jail. Free them.
their father,
I say they're
Jose
guilty.
Menendez, had sexually and also abused Eric Menendez throughout several years.
Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. So wait, we're waiting on these bozos to get
everyone's
off the
just getting
floor.
kind of
Are you
set up.
serious? Come on.
Kind of grabbing onto their seats now, so this could
Honest
be
to
an indication
goodness,
that
this
it's
has
starting.
been 34
We
minutes
don't want to
before
step
I
away
even
from this
started
because
doing
we
this.
want to get it in full as soon as it gets underway.
Yeah, we don't want to
You
be
can
on
see there
time
one
now.
of the
Don't be on
attorneys
time.
for the Menendez brothers. He is taking his seat, speaking
This
to
poor man's gonna
presumably
die
who
before he
believers,
gets
some of the
this
family
decision.
members
The hell?
for the Menendez brothers, who have also advocated for the release of both Eric and Lyle's, saying that they did what they thought had to be done given the circumstances of abuse that they suffered at the hands of their father, Jose Menendez. Kind of want to recap the entire story in case you were just joining us here at Live Now from Fox. Prosecutors, what we're waiting for is their announcement as to whether or not they will recommend resentencing for Eric and Lyle Menendez in the 1989 killings of their parents in Beverly Hills. The brothers were sentenced in 1996
God
to
bless
life
her.
in
She
prison
just keeps
without the
going.
possibility of parole. The Los Angeles County District Attorney George Scone is scheduling this news conference for 1:30 p.m. today, West Coast time. We're about 15 minutes past that, which is why we think it will get underway any moment now. Now, if prosecutors do recommend resentencing,
All right, let's see here. What do we got? Clown judge. Both brothers were abused. Free them. Shot the parents. Let's get mercy. Uh-oh, someone's laying down Bible verses. That's what we need. Bible verses. Free them. Hello, Mr. George. I want to see something say, oh my gosh. People are so stupid. Trump. Great. Now we're talking about gross stuff in the chat because I can't even get in the chat because it's closed. But someone's got an issue up on there. In his butt, it says. Okay, all right. Cream of the crop. OJ was innocent, R.I.P. You are high as a kite. Free them, and Lyle. Kamala. Free the brothers, the Menendez brothers. Free the Menendez brothers. Trump. Buy me a taco. Stay in prison. Eric is so gay. What the fuck? Let's go. I agree. What's the hold up here? We've only been waiting for 33 years? Are you crapping me right now? Well, somebody is in the chat, literally, but... Justice for Kitty. Screw Kitty! Kitty was a complacent asshole who had no problem handing off the children to the husband, so stop. It's disgusting. Aw, hey, feller. Come on by. Come on, feller. Hi, how are you? Kiss. Pet, kiss. Oh, that's Kitty's. Okay, right? That's Kitty's niece and sister. In the front row, he just went and hugged. Freedom. Trump. Freedom. Free the Menendez. Justice is to let these brothers go free. Free them. A lot of free thems. A lot of Diddy-ness, some Trump-ness. I'm looking for Joe Rogan. Somebody usually will put up Rogan for president or Joe Rogan somewhere's on there. Not Joe Rogan himself, just someone does it. For Diddy, Garth Brooks, and Oprah. What? What are these people talking about? Trump, I don't believe they were abused. Oh, really, Boo? Really? You go crap in a closet, in a jar, you dumb head. Piece of shit. I said dumb head. It's all good. Pray Trump away. Israel forever. End the Fed. Who the hell are these people? Some of these people stay on point. Other people just say stupid stuff. Trump always, Abby says. Ask Menudo. Yeah, exactly. Ask Menudo. Ask him all about it. Love can kill. The eye of history, Jaher. Oh, really, people? Free the Menendez. Somebody's not even English. Look at that guy. It was like Arabic or something. I don't know what that was. He said free them in English. Even he knows. Free Tory. Did Kitty abuse them too? Yes, you stupid asshole. Abuse is looking away when you hear your children getting abused in the butt by your stupid, ignorant, fat husband. He's not in Cuba anymore, sweet tits. They kicked him out. They don't want him. So dramatic, they put. It's so dramatic.
Every media outlet in attendance will get at least one question, so we may be able to get more context also provided.
What do we need to know
for that decision?
Yes or no?
I want to go back to this reporting
Bitch
from the
slam.
Associated Press.
No, girl. Enough yapping. I'm with you on that. Kitty was the most evil. I agree. It's bullshit. Wow. Why are people doing that?
Los Angeles
I hate
County
everybody.
District Attorney George Gascon would recommend resentencing for the brothers. They were sentenced in 1996 to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Now, prosecutors must now seek court approval for that. Lyle, again, was just 21 years old. Let's go back to some of this file footage that we have. These brothers have been in prison for about 34 years. So Lyle, just 21. Eric was just 18. And you can see here on your screen a picture of their parents. It's Kitty and Jose Menendez, who both brothers were convicted of killing back in 1989 in their Beverly Hills home. Now, the brothers back then, they had said that Jose Menendez had sexually abused Eric Menendez for years.
Both of them.
And that is part of some of the new evidence that the district attorney's office was going to be looking into.
Okay.
The district attorney, George Gascon, telling...
Let me ask you this. If that was the case, why were these men not taken to the hospital and had exams? Because years of abuse, anal abuse, will show on a physical exam that, look how he's walking. Yeah, this is crap. So why didn't they do that? That seems pretty obvious. It's on every single television show. Take them into the hospital, get them checked out. Even if it was a year later, even now they could tell what that guy did to them, and it's been over 30 years. Even now. And it's assuming nothing more happened to them, I would hope. It's not probably the case, but...
Fight at trial that Eric had told him about his father's abuse when Eric was just 13 years old. Cano did die back in 2003. Now, the second piece of evidence that was being reviewed was a sworn statement from a former member of the Puerto Rican boy band Menudo, who claimed he was abused by Jose Menendez as a teenager. Last week, nearly 24 relatives of the brothers held that joint press conference calling for the release, and we have heard their attorneys say that they would like the brothers to be home in time for Thanksgiving. Now, given the decision today that we are seeing, the Associated Press is saying prosecutors do want the brothers to be resentenced.
I don't care what
We will
anybody
have to
says
wait for
because
that court
nobody's
approval,
saying
so
anything.
there's going to be a couple of more steps until we may actually see those brothers heading home. This camera has been set up for about more than a half an hour,
That's
I would
right,
say.
girl. Sure has.
The DA running about half an hour behind at this moment.
For what?
But really a packed room as we await for this decision and a press conference that we have been alluding to.
You know,
throughout
I
the last
couldn't
several
show up
weeks
late
as
to
this
court.
case kind of made its
What the
way
hell
back
is it?
into the spotlight, making those headlines. And one of the reasons is really just so much attention with the several documentaries across all streaming platforms
And they still can't
for
get
the
on
last several
time.
decades that have really
Half
highlighted
hour late.
this. We have seen in these documentaries some of that
Did
court
anybody see a
footage,
clock?
some of the testimonies
Or
from
watch?
the brothers,
Maybe
some
a
of the
timepiece?
witnesses.
A sundial?
And then most recently, we have seen that Netflix released their own series focusing on the Menendez brothers called Monsters, the Lyle and Eric Menendez story.
They need to
And we know
focus
that there
on
is
time.
also an upcoming
That's what they need to
documentary
focus
in
on.
which the brothers will tell their side of the story as well. So still we have two vantage points here inside of the room. We have this one kind of facing
I'll
diagonally
get
off
here,
to the
Jake.
side. And then we also have this one a bit closer there to the door, in which we are waiting for the district attorney to make their appearance and finally announced what is the decision. Now officially announce it, because the Associated Press is reporting that prosecutors do want the Menendez brothers to be resentenced. All right, just wanted to bring up the audio for a little bit from inside of this room, kind of getting a feel for where things stand at the moment. A little while ago, we did have someone step up to the podium and announce that it was just going to be moments away. That was, I would say, about 10 or 15 minutes ago. So we are expecting it to get started any moment now. We're not going to step away from this. We don't want to miss it, as we have been waiting thus far. We're just going to continue to do so here at Live Now from Fox. The case and this new evidence that was reviewed by the Los Angeles County District Attorney has been one of the top stories that we have been covering here at Live Now from Fox for several weeks, all culminating to this moment, in this time, really just decades in the making. As we know that these brothers have been in prison for about 34 years now, and their family members have really been at the forefront of calling for their release and calling for a resentencing from the DA's office over in Los Angeles. The renewed interest in this case and the new evidence that has been reviewed has to do with a lot of the sexual abuse allegations that were already presented back during the trial in the mid-90s, but wasn't sufficient enough to get the brothers convicted of a lesser charge. They were charged with first-degree murder, sentenced to life in prison without parole. Now, with this resentencing, we know that the hope of the family members, the attorneys, and I would say the brothers themselves would be that they would be home. And their optimism is that they would be home in time for Thanksgiving. All of that, I guess we'll see kind of where this will go after the announcement that we are expecting here. We're getting more of a close-up look at some of the family members there in attendance. So they're in the front row, who they are focusing on at this moment. She is the sister of Kitty Menendez, who was the mother that was shot and killed back in 1989. She was one of the family members that has been there kind of leading the charge along with the attorneys for the brothers, calling on their resentencing, their release from prison. She is 94 years old, but she has been there every step of the way, saying that while the situation was tragic, her name there, Joan Anderson Vandermolen, she's saying while the actions were tragic, the desperate response of the two boys trying to survive the unspeakable cruelty of their father was warranted back in this case. All right, resetting here. We are at the top of the hour, 2 p.m. here on the West Coast and 5 p.m. over on the East Coast. Appreciate you all sticking with us here at Live Now from Fox as we are waiting a monumental decision when it comes to the case against the Menendez brothers. Here pictured on the screen, you do see the sister of Kitty Menendez, the mother who was killed back in 1989. She is sitting front and center as we await for the Los Angeles County District Attorney to announce whether these brothers will be resentenced. We do have this also. Another vantage point is still from inside of that room, more family members, as we can see kind of sitting there as we are waiting for this, a conclusion that has really been decades in the making. The press conference was set to get started at about 1:30 p.m. West Coast time, 4:30 p.m. East Coast time. We're running about a half an hour behind, but we have been committed here at Live Now from Fox to not pull away from this because we want to make sure that we do get it as soon as the district attorney steps up to the podium. Now, we did have a couple of people kind of setting the tone for the room, saying that there will only be limited questions announced or required or allowed rather from the press that are in attendance. And we did have a kind of a better view of the whole room. You can see that it's really packed to the brim. All right, no clear indication still as to when this might get started. Let's just keep ping-ponging through these several vantage points. And this one, you can really see how packed this room is. They're in Los Angeles. And let's go ahead and recap everything we know. This is courtesy of the Associated Press, who have spoken with officials that are familiar with this matter as we await for the decision to officially be announced by LA prosecutors. But you can see it there on your screen that LA prosecutors, they do want the Menendez brothers to be resentenced. According to the Associated Press, they said prosecutors will recommend Eric and Lyle Menendez be resentenced for the 1989 killings of their parents in the family's Beverly Hills home, providing the brothers with a chance at freedom after 34 years behind bars. An official with knowledge of the decision, who was not authorized to speak on the record ahead of a planned press conference, which you're taking a look at here at your screen, says that the Los Angeles County District Attorney, George Gascon, would recommend resentencing for the brothers. They were sentenced back in 1996 to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Prosecutors, of course, will seek court approval if they do announce that resentencing was going to go forward. Lyle Menendez was then just 21 years old, and Eric Menendez was 18 when they admitted they fatally shot their entertainment executive father, Jose Menendez, and their mother, Kitty Menendez. The brothers said they feared their parents were about to kill them to stop people from finding out that Jose Menendez had sexually abused Eric Menendez for years. The brothers' extended family has pleaded for their release, saying they deserve to be free after decades behind bars. Several family members had said that in today's world, which is more aware of the impact of sexual abuse, the brothers would not have been convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life. Multiple members of their extended family, including their aunt, Joanne Anderson Vander Molen, who we do see, I believe here actually, in this, another live vantage point from inside of that room. She is the sister of Kitty Menendez, who was killed back in 1989, up there front and center, ready for this decision to be announced. And Joan Anderson, she has publicly said that she supported the release of both of those brothers to their attorney, Mark Garagos, who we have also seen periodically walking through some of these shots. He is also, of course, there in attendance. The Menendez brothers, they were tried twice for their parents' murders, with the first trial ending in a hung jury. Prosecutors at the time, they contended that there was no evidence of molestation, and many details in their story of sexual abuse were not permitted in the second trial. The district attorney's office also said back then that the brothers were after their parents' multi-million-dollar estate. Not all of the Menendez family members support the resentencing, however.
Yeah, her brother.
Attorneys for Milton Anderson, the 90-year-old brother of Kitty Menendez, filed a legal brief asking the court to keep the brothers' original punishment.
Why? You think they're
saying,
coming
quote,
after you,
they
old
shot
man?
their mother, Kitty,
Dumbass.
reloading to ensure her death. That's what Anderson's attorney said in a statement just yesterday. That statement went on to say, the evidence remains overwhelmingly clear, the jury's verdict was just, and the punishment fits the heinous crime. We've got more people walking into the room there on the left side of your screen. You do see the attorney for the brothers, Mark Garagos, kind of ushering in some more folks to this press conference that is running
folks. How about
about
the flipping
35,
judge?
almost 40 minutes behind. And then also on your screen there, you do see the Los Angeles County District Attorney, George Gascon. So let's go ahead and pump up the audio. It seems this press conference is getting started.
Really, bitch? You better know what you're talking about. Start your conversation.
Good afternoon, everyone. And before I begin speaking, I want to also introduce some other people that are here with me, and I hope I'm pronouncing the names right because I've seen the handwritten part of it.
Fucking say what you
But I
gotta
have Ana
say.
Maria Barant, Jose Menendez, Jose Menendez and niece Karen Vander Molen, and Katie's niece. They're all here with us. Also with us here is Brock Lunsford. He's the assistant head deputy for the post-litigation conviction unit, and Nancy Cervier, who is the deputy district attorney in charge of the resentencing unit. Let me begin by telling you that this is a case where we've had many people in this office spend a great deal of time reviewing the case. I have to tell you unequivocally that we don't have a universal agreement. There are people in the office that strongly believe that the Menendez brothers should stay in prison the rest of their life, and they do not believe that they were molested.
Oh, come
And there are
on.
people in the office that strongly believe that they should be released immediately and that they were in fact molested. I have to tell you that after a very careful review of all the arguments that were made for people on both sides of this equation, I came to a place where I believe that under the law, resentencing is appropriate, and I am going to recommend that to a court tomorrow.
Yeah!
What that means in this particular case is that we're going to recommend to the court that the life without the possibility of parole be removed and that they will be sentenced for murder, which, because there are two murders involved, that will be 50 years to life. However, because of their age, under the law, since they were under 26 years of age, at the time that these crimes occurred, they will be eligible for parole immediately. The teams that have worked in this on the resentencing side of it
Woo,
have
that's all I want to
spent
hear.
literally probably hundreds of hours by now looking at this case. These cases were originally presented on the habeas side of it, which I'll explain in a moment what that is, last year, and then the request for a prosecutor-initiated resentencing occurred earlier this year.